and
people who do this for a living, they're winning at life.
Living, yeah. You're rolling now. Okay. I'll just see the frame when we're going to set that, or we're going to use that for BTS, just BTS like that.
Just taking some pictures.
Pictures, yeah, stuff like that.
My friends and I joke about creating a podcast, but we realize that the only two people who are going to find it entertaining, manifesting it, exactly.
You're manifesting it right now. Now 4 people, because me and Nag are also it's going to be a serious quid pro quo, and we're going to watch your podcast with the assurance that you watch ours. Damn. What is your podcast going to be all about?
That's the thing. You meet with a friend, you talk about everything under the sun, you talk about the same 10 things you've already spoken about, right? And then we realize even if we do create a podcast, the only 2 people who are going to find it funny are the 2 people sitting and talking.
Yeah, it's such an internal joke.
Yeah. Who's going to get the amazing, and more loss for the world really, but...
Yeah, more loss for the world.
More loss for the world.
Fuck them. You are not in tune with the gossip that is happening in Bhubaneswar. That's your loss.
That is your loss. That's what I'm saying.
People are killing their parents. People are...
I heard about that.
He's my friend, actually.
I know.
He's my friend. So.
Ritik texted me. He's like, "Hey, did you hear about this?" I was like, "What?"
Shima sir's friend. Yeah. That's how they all know it. They know him by now. Shima sir's friend. Incidentally, I also talked to him just the night before.
Did you?
Yeah.
Are you being called?
That's a different podcast. Is this?
This can't be it. This can't go on.
No, that's fine. He was a good friend. I don't know what happened.
Of course.
It's a very huge tragedy.
I
feel so sad for him. But also give me a perspective as to, are the dogs in? So yeah. It also gave me a perspective as to, like, whenever we want people punished, there is so much background to it. Like, if it's your friend or if you know somebody, you're like, the act and going through the social shame is so much.
True.
That do you need to put this person in jail and throw away the key for 200 years? Do you need to do that? Only when it's like somebody very close to you that you start thinking
about that. Because otherwise it's a very black and white situation. And
it's the first time that I've ever thought of it.
Right.
In the sense
it's a grey spot, really.
Yeah,
for you.
Go. His father was 70, so he had seen most years of his life.
Yeah, that's
and coming to you, one of the things that really encouraged me to talk to you is that you've been through a lot of places, right? Like before Bhubaneswar, you were somewhere else, I believe.
My family and I were in the UK for a bit, but that was like a very brief period of time. As such, I've spent most of my life over here, I think. Yeah.
Did you have an inclination, because you have been on the move, that India or Bhubaneswar or Odisha, whichever context you say, is just a place somewhat in passing? Do you think so? Like, you would go for education elsewhere, or education is completely a separate domain? You weren't thinking of it from a social experience?
No, I was. I definitely
You were definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I think obviously having spent your whole life in one place, no matter where it is, you have the inclination to go somewhere else, right? So, yeah, that's sort of what was the driving reason behind wanting to go outside, wanting to go elsewhere. Mm-hmm. And then socially as well, I mean, you hear things, pop culture plays a huge... Yeah, it does. I think it definitely does. I think there's a sense of wonderment in...
I'm sure.
I had that opportunity, I had that chance, I was lucky enough to. So I took it. There was...
we were just talking to a few of my male students, interestingly. My male students were candid enough to talk about how, it would be so much difficult for you to find romantic interests in a city like Bhubaneswar or Odisha. This may not be the case with you or anybody in particular.
Yeah.
But I was just saying that when you're honest about education, you can't look at it in isolation. That's the larger point.
No.
It always comes with, especially something at an undergrad level, always comes with a social context.
True.
I think, like, you want a life,
exactly.
social life, which was also comes with the package.
I think, not just romantically, like you said, like socially as well, it's a small place, and all of us, like, you want to expand, you want to go outside,
Right.
and I think there's a lot more autonomy as well if you're not in a place that you're already very familiar with. And over here, if I step out, I know I'm going to bump into somebody, whether it's on a date, whether it's just hanging out with friends.
Right.
But like, I'm going to bump into someone,
Yeah.
and I didn't want that. And
You almost have decided what you're going to tell them, so that they don't tell people other people you know.
Precisely.
Like you have a backstory working.
Exactly. Which is not to say I have done any, no vices have been indulged in. I'm a
Of course not.
child of God.
Right.
But no, I think just the freedom and to be able to meet new people, right? Like you
Right.
professionally and socially, the idea of networking is, I think, so much more challenging when you already know everybody here, right? So, yeah, I think that's what it is. And as for the romantic bit, I mean, my friends and I talk about it every day. The pool is quite limited, but I fear that may be the cause everywhere.
And the pool is not too deep, like no diving allowed.
No diving.
allowed
You take
on
a
that
dip
pool.
and you're like, yeah, I
Yeah,
hate this water. I'm coming out right now. Yeah.
Who's been peeing? Sorry. It's just not your thing.
It's just, no.
So it's a lot more. In fact, I have said this in a previous podcast when we were talking to a guest, and she was telling me that, and this is coming from women, interestingly, this kind of communication with women,
Yeah.
is that how important anonymity is for the character of a
It
city.
is, yeah.
Like you can go in anonymous. In a city, you can disappear, not bump into somebody, not
True.
have the trouble of having backstories and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And you studied in a major university where actually I think that was one of also the hallmarks, that you didn't have to, even in the university cohort, not
Yeah.
everybody knew each other, because
true.
Indiana University is a very big university.
It is a big university. There is, of course, because it's a college town at the end of the day, so it was happening frequently where we'd go somewhere and we'd bump into someone else that we knew. But it wasn't, I don't think it was a dynamic where I felt compelled to explain, like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm with this person, I'm doing this.
Because it's a peer group.
It's a
cohort.
peer group, and everybody is sort of in that mentality, like, I'm doing my own thing, I don't really care about what you're
Right.
doing, you do your thing, that's
Right.
totally fine, which I don't, as much as I hate saying it, I don't think is the case here.
No.
That you do have to explain.
Yeah.
There is an obligation over
Yeah,
here.
you have to
So,
explain it, especially
yes.
because it's your dad that you're running. That you've just met your dad
Correct.
outside the movie hall.
Exactly.
And, you're getting popcorn. It's like, I thought you were doing homework. That also kind of brings me to the other question, is that how do you prepare for such a shift? It's all right to like want such a shift.
Yeah.
But when it does happen, how different is it from what you imagined, or what comes with the...
I think you do have to go in with the mentality that you're going to have to step out of your comfort zone.
Right.
Because if you don't do that, you will just be inside, you'll be, doing things you like, but you're not really exploring, you're not really learning. And so with me, it was, I think I would say a huge portion of my first year was dedicated to hanging out with different people.
Right.
Just to figure out who I'm really comfortable with.
Right.
And that sort of friend group and that social group comes like later on, I think in the second year. Because the first year is just spent exploring, trying out new things, going to classes and workshops that you wouldn't attend. But yeah, that was nice. And so right now I realize it's not about the place, it's really about like what job you're getting and what you can learn.
But it is a little bit about the place. I mean,
It is. I mean, if given the choice, would I be here or in New York? Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
it is definitely a little bit about
a
the
little
place,
bit
but
about the place.
I can't be too picky, beggars
picky.
can't be choosers.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. We would all move en masse to New York.
Exactly.
Had we, I would be doing this podcast out of Manhattan any day. Looking out
Overlooking the Hudson,
Central Park or
yeah.
Hudson, and
Yeah.
not looking at the skyline of Bhubaneswar as we are.
Which is a lovely skyline right now. Let's
skyline.
not-
But some things about the new colors that these houses have, the green and the blue.
You have to give it to people's imagination.
I swear,
you know?
some of those colors, I swear I have read this, I'm not making this up, are, if you read those colors, this is like for sale in Odisha only. That kind of green is not.
It's just not natural. It's not available anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like something which in the future will become like a strain for a plague, which is that green.
The coronavirus.
Yeah, some kind of, and when we go to the hinterland, especially of Odisha, there's a competitive. This is like the Kelly Business School. This is like the Kelly bubble. So they have all these green and
yellows. Let's not forget the yellows.
I'm telling you, these are things which are killing off insects more rapidly than mobile phone towers. I mean, they don't know what to make. Is this a flower? Is this something has died? Is there an infection? So yeah, it's beautiful though. I would say it beats the steel.
Just to remain politically correct.
It's just steel and concrete in NYC. So we don't want that.
Correct.
We want a little imagination.
Yeah.
What do you? I mean, would you like? Especially, I love asking this question because a lot of people tell me that Bhubaneswar is such a good place, or Odisha, for instance, is such a good place to be a part of. Meaning to come from, but not to always be at.
Are
you
agree.
one of those people? Because I feel I also kind of see where that's coming from, at least.
I've thought about this a lot, and I do feel like had I lived and been raised in one of the bigger cities,
right,
I don't think I would have had the character that I do today. I think coming from a smaller place, it really influences your personality. And how would I phrase it? I think there's a higher degree of self-awareness.
Is there?
I think
wow.
so. I think there is a higher degree of self-awareness when you come from I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking just for myself and the people.
No, you're making a very good point. I kind of see what you're trying to get at.
I think in bigger cities, you're really trying to not categorize yourself, but you do sort of like fit in. There are like multitudes of like boxes that you're like, okay, like I can see you're from here. I can see.
Yeah.
One thing I remember when I was in college, there were a lot of kids from Bombay and Delhi, and I don't know what it is about them, but I could immediately say, oh, that person's from Bombay.
Yeah.
And this person from Delhi.
That's fantastic.
There's a like huge difference.
But what's the person from Bhubaneswar? We don't know that. We don't know that. You can be. There is no legacy to being from Bhubaneswar.
Which adds versatility to character, don't you think?
You're like,
so,
okay, I see what you are. Like, to a great extent, if you're from Delhi, you would have some kind of signal that you are from Delhi.
Absolutely.
But there is no bad signal for being from Bhubaneswar.
Yeah, I think people in Bhubaneswar, if there is one, we don't know what it is.
We don't know.
And if we don't know, they definitely don't know.
Or we find out the more difficult way that from Bhubaneswar, I'm not aware. That how did you find out? And that's actually very true that a lot of successful people, especially in academics, come from smaller cities because I think they don't have so much of a baggage while getting there.
Correct.
To the place that makes a lot of sense.
It's more streamlined, isn't it? Wherever you're from, your life as such. So you have a lot of time to ponder, if you will.
And Bloomington isn't that big a city.
No, it's not. I think the population of the locals itself is like 50,000. And then you add in the student body, which is another like 50,000. So
I mean, at least what they advertise is about 90,000, I think.
Yeah. Combined with the, I think,
UG,
student body,
and graduate
UG and GE, it becomes
90K.
Correct.
I think the UG is about 40,000.
Correct. You're right.
Yeah. And not too many international students in terms of percentage. About 10%, I think.
I would actually say, I think IU has one of the highest international.
Does it?
I think, and they have a great community for international students as well. So I think that's one of the reasons my parents felt like good about sending me there as well, is because you're driving down there. I remember this was, I think, my first day of orientation, and the drive down to IU is like, there's only farms and corn, or not corn, but you're like, where the hell am I going? Like, I'm so far away from home, where am I going? And then I remember entering the hotel, and my orientation group was one of the last, because I'm coming all the way from India.
Right.
So my orientation group is like one of the last orientation groups. And I remember walking to the hotel and there's only Desis. Isn't that crazy, right?
Crazy.
So I remember wait, where am I? Actually, now there's a big crisis going on in my head.
True.
But no, it's good to have that support of people from back home while also having the chance to meet people from different
I went at a different stage, so that is a very different.
You did, that's
But
true.
when I was in graduate school, I avoided Desis like the plague. I'll tell you why. Because
Yeah.
I didn't, nothing against them in particular, nothing that they would say or do, but
Correct.
I didn't want to have a conversation which I had just had.
Which is
Like
a very
month
fair point.
back,
Yeah.
why did Katappa kill Bahubali or whatever it was, the political, social pondering was, this
Correct,
is a while
huh.
back. But I didn't want to get into that same conversation. I would rather have pauses where I don't know what to speak,
Yes.
what to say, and try to find something common.
I think
then
that's-
have something which is coming very easily. So there were my friends who would say, "Arey, ghar ko aaja, teri bhabhi ne khana." I was like, "Yeah, that's cool, but I don't want to, gossip
Ghar ka
about
khana hai, haan.
Kangna और ऋतिक का था कुछ की नहीं."
Correct,
मतलब
correct,
I'm just not interested. I was interested when I was in India. I
Which
was
is totally fair.
deep into that shit.
Yeah.
But now that I'm in New York, I want to, find out more about
Exactly.
the place.
And I think all of us went in with that mentality. Like, not just me, but like every other international student. I'm sure the students from Hong Kong or Singapore, wherever people were coming in from, I'm sure they all went in with that thought that like, okay, I want to meet people that I'm not going to meet otherwise back home, right? That's the whole purpose of why I'm here, like a huge part of it anyway. So yeah, it's nice having that support. Like if
Yeah.
you miss things back home, but then you also have the chance to explore
Chance
and,
But sometimes I
diversify.
feel that it almost becomes, at least in my school, what happened is that it solidified into groups so fast
Yeah.
that it was almost, I don't know whether this is true of American social system, which is kind of replicates a little bit of their political system.
Yeah.
Democrats and Republicans, you have to be a part
Right.
of a group, or
Yeah.
and be like committed to it. But almost like our social groups, after 3-4 months, it was not very fluid, So there was the Desi group, there was the international group, there was, meaning populated heavily by Indian and Chinese students.
Correct.
With that one, kind of guest appearance by a white guy. Who's in every goddamn dinner and picture,
Yeah.
and just so that
What a great guy.
What a great
Yeah,
guy.
yeah,
He
yeah.
just
Man of culture.
You can see that guy is doing an outreach kind of thing. But quickly I saw that if I'm kind of hanging with them, it's very difficult for me to kind of socially, like really, because I wanted conversations which were not just professional or not just
Yeah.
with peers. I wanted to be friends with a few
Correct,
people because
correct.
that's how I would understand. And at some point I had to not align with this group for me to do that, which I thought was crazy, which I talk to a lot of students who are going there, and I can keep telling them is that initially you will get this panic to, kind of coalesce with your fellow Indians, South
That's
Asians
true,
immediately,
that's true.
right? There's that panic because,
Yeah.
there's nobody. But if you kind of resist it, I think there's sometimes a better social life
Yeah.
in
Correct.
Right.
Which goes back to the whole stepping out of your comfort zone thing, right? So you do have to, because you're coming from a vastly different place than these people are, and you have to find some point in common to be able to retain a friendship, not a professional relationship.
Because you're also very socially you have your social priorities very well aligned, I feel. Like whatever I feel, like you can make friends pretty easily. You like to make friends, I think.
do, yeah.
And you're kind of comfortable with most people and most kind of vibes, let us say.
Right.
Like in that
That's
sense,
true.
like you can be a part of multiple groups.
Actually, no, I think I disagree. I disagree.
You disagree?
Yeah, I think it's like you have 2-3 groups, and these are 2-3 groups that I can hang out with, I can go out drinking with, I'll have a good time. But I think there should also be a group that like I want to come home to, that like I like having in my own house, in my own sort of comfort space.
Right.
And I had that, which was nice.
Okay.
I go out, you go to the bar, you go to a party that friends hosting, you drink with them, and then obviously drinking helps with drinking juices. Please,
sometimes.
I want to clarify. Drinking juices helps with conversation a lot. So yeah.
That's why we have mixed a little vodka. Yeah, that does. I found drinking actually. Should I turn around? Yeah. I was. Mics are also fine. Yeah. Sangman saving the day.
Yeah. Great directing.
Great directing, right? We're a very professional unit. So and one of the things that I really enjoyed about my social life was that this ability to go out and drink and have a social life which did not look seedy. And,
Yes.
Drinking and going into partying and is such an elite thing here. I think is like you feel like you are taking advantage of something.
True.
Or, kind of oppressed by that. I remember we had a bar here called Somu's Cave.
Okay.
And this was...
The name is Cave.
Somu's Cave. And it was literally Plato's cave, if you know that analogy, because you couldn't see a damn thing inside it. You felt like you were... I don't know. You couldn't see, but you could see... I mean, it was a dark place with people not visible, just white teeth a little bit once in a while.
That's terrifying.
And it's like it was almost like that's the extent we would go to give you anonymity, to do something socially, which was, for me, drinking was more of a social tool.
It is.
I wanted to see the person I was drinking with.
Correct. You want to have
very
conversation.
Important.
Exactly.
Can you imagine a bar where you can't see the person you were drinking
You have no idea who
No, I would do that in my closet or something like that. Drink in my closet. But that's exactly the point. I felt like it was a very working class thing to do, or a middle class thing to do in the States, or possibly now. I haven't. I haven't been drinking for a while, so I don't know how it is in India right now. But at least there, it neither felt elite, like too elite, nor did it feel like you were doing something wrong. Or
it doesn't. I think that's what I was just about to say. Because, so the drinking age, I don't know, was it 18 when you went, or?
I wasn't 18 when I went, so I didn't inquire. Let's just say I was a little north of 18.
But no, I think in the beginning, because it's like...
Let's say you were 18 when you...
Let's say I was 18. Yes. I was not drinking at that point of time, and that was something new, and I was like, oh my God, like, am I disappointing my ancestors, letting down my legacy, etc., etc.
Do I need to fast on a Monday? No, I need to...
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
But I think after a point you realize it's just like, you go for brunch, you have like a cocktail or two, you
something
eat,
to drink,
you have good chat, you have a good conversation with your friends, and you go home. It's not something I'm doing out of like rebellion or like, it's super safe as well. And then, especially, I'm a girl. So like in India and the US, that dynamic also comes into play. And so it's very safe for me to just go out with my girlfriends, have a couple of drinks, come back home, even if it's like late hours.
Yeah.
So, that autonomy is there.
And also, I mean, when you drink here, almost by performance, your demons take over. So you are like, if you're drunk, you start shouting. You're like shouting at, you go to your old school and you're throwing rocks at them. This may or may not have happened with me. But there it just doesn't go, nasha वैसे चढ़ता ही नहीं है. मतलब you're like, अरे यार, मतलब I have to get back home. Today is not a weekend. Why are we drinking? I have to get up early in the morning.
Or, even if it does, I don't think your demons take over, just your fun little elves and goblins take over. So you're just dancing.
You're dancing, you're having a good time and just coming back. And
Correct. Over here, I feel like every time I drink, I just wake up the next morning with anxiety,
Anxiety. And also the stuff that we drink. I mean, Old Monk, all said and done, and Kisan Ram, I think they are meant to bring out your demons. They are. I think that's how they make them, to, take out.
It exists for that purpose, that's true.
Like you can't have revolver beer and talk about, Mrinal Sen's Ontorin. You can't, If you have revolver beer, you're, taking out the anger that you have on your dad on somebody else, So you're running over your car.
Poor Ramu Kaka is sitting next to you. Somu's Cave is getting it.
Somu's Cave. Yeah. Somu's Cave is seedy. I mean, you felt like you were having it was just, I think they meant it to be anonymous.
Yeah.
But it became unintentionally intimate because you would be so close to people because you couldn't see where people were, and you were like, oh, I didn't realize I was sitting on the lap of this gentleman for the last 30 minutes and you didn't tell me.
Yeah.
But that entire aesthetics of bars during when we were growing up
Yeah.
is just so machismo, sleazy,
Yeah.
seedy. I think an entire generation, your generation, and it became like liberated when you go to the West, and that you feel like
Honestly.
you feel so relieved that
I will say, I think slowly Bhubaneswar is coming along in terms of like
Sure.
places to go and socialize. But I was having this conversation with my parents as well, because at the end of the day, I decided, honesty is the best policy. And I told them like, yeah, I'm out with friends, we're having some alcohol. And I think that sort of relationship vis-a-vis, not drinking and having really strict regulations. I remember there were people who were like going absolutely insane. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to be that person as well.
Right.
And it was like, I don't know how to explain it. Like they were having a great time. They looked like they were having fun, but it wasn't going to be fun the next day.
Sure.
And so that acceptance has to come from within as well. That like, okay, I'm not doing something wrong. I was like, yeah, my parents approve. I'm okay now. I'm fine. But I wasn't rebelling, if you will. Yeah.
And on another note, I was just thinking, so many of my former students come to this podcast and start talking about drinking and smoking with me that I feel I'm in the wrong business. Like I should be probably starting a wine business with Nag or something like that.
Vineyards growing in the backyard.
Vineyards or something like that. I should stop teaching and but it's such a sign of acceptance by especially or a rite of passage.
Yeah.
Which is that you can drink,
you
can whatever do. It may not be drinking, maybe smoking, maybe traveling alone, maybe whatever.
Yeah.
And you can still handle yourself.
Yeah.
That's such a rite of passage.
I think it is. It got me thinking, like I remember there was one class, it was a finance class, and I think by this point we were all 21. So even teachers know that, like even the professors know that we're all out at the bars. And there was a professor who used to be like, I often do go to this bar if you want to like hang out or something. And he's like, and the professors themselves have a social life. And I think, I don't know why, but maybe I'm generalizing. I think we see enjoyment as sort of like a guilty pleasure thing over here. I think that also plays a factor. Ki like, masti bahut kar li, like that's a bad thing. Whereas I think there's a very work hard, play hard sort of mentality, right? Yahan pe, work hard, play very little, like that sort of a mentality is there.
And when you play, just play. There's like, ye umar nahi hai.
Correct,
when
exactly.
you are past a particular point,
Yeah.
you're like, why is uncle Sham drinking in the couch, drunk in the couch,
Correct.
12?
And everybody's like, no, Uncle Sham's worked for it his whole life.
Worked for
it's
it.
fine.
He has worked for it. He's,
tumne nahi kiya.
Tumne nahi kiya.
Correct.
He's reached that position. He can be an ass now.
Exactly.
Yes, he can be a generally
Which
ugly.
is, not so the case there. Wahan pe it's very healthy, I would say. Yeah.
With the present, changing this a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I don't want this podcast to be entirely about intoxicants, if I can avoid it.
Yeah.
In this particular kind of, if you're following the elections in the US and stuff like that, because it's one place that you want to go.
Yeah.
Does for an international community of immigrants who are taking high white-collar jobs, does it matter really? Are we just looking at economy? Are we also engaged in politics? I'm telling you, I'll kind of add to that question. If you look at the IT crowd, I will generalize and obviously be wrong about certain people, but I'll generalize and say yes, they don't care because their route is slightly different. It's almost, the off-site is a very good metaphor for it because, or on-site is really good metaphor for it because it's like an arm from India has extended, an Infosys arm, and they are just playing in the West, which will just kind of come back. So it's a little bit of a bubble or an extension from India. And they are not affected by what happens politically, culturally, socially, because it's cocooned a little bit. And they have such high-end jobs that they can be to a certain extent cocooned. You, on the other hand, or people like you, go through a different route altogether. Go through the education route, which is much more enmeshed in the society, day-to-day society.
Yeah.
And you don't, for instance, you guys have to do all your work alone. You usually don't have a spouse or partner.
No,
at least
right.
not that one that we know of. Who's, kind of taking care of the home or have kids or something like that. And you are really interacting every day with
Correct.
the people and the country.
Right.
Do you think, like, for someone like you, it matters a lot, or
I think
how do you
for
look at it?
my age group and my generation as such, it's not even about like having that support system. Obviously, when we're growing up, you kind of want to educate yourself about like the economy, the policies that are coming about the government, because you want to make educated, informed choices as you vote, as you learn about different things that are impacting. But I think a lot of it is fueled by social media.
Right.
And
Good point.
social media is so polarized, and we are so enmeshed in social
That's
media.
right.
And so
That's
I think you have to have an opinion. There is a pressure that you have to make an opinion.
Good point.
And it has to be A or B. It has to be like, are you a Democrat? Are you a Republican? I was thinking about this the other day, and I was talking to one of my friends who is, she is a voting age there, and I was like, the elections are coming up, are you going to vote and everything? I was talking to her about it, and she's like, I have no idea. Because she isn't very happy with either of the...
Which seems to be a lot of American voters at this point.
Which, yes, everybody is very disgruntled at the political state right now.
Their own parties, even if they are card-holding Republicans or... I mean, the guy who shot Trump
is dead.
Dead, but was also a Republican at some point of time.
Correct.
Card-holding Republican, but he was generally seemed to be unhappy with Trump per se.
Right.
But it's a very polarized and polarizing situation.
And social media just accelerates that polarization.
Right.
I think a lot of people think Republicans have to be like conservative moms with blonde bobs who hate people of color, and a lot of people think Democrats have to be like homosexuals with purple hair, which is not the case. A lot of these people, that's just a very small section of what we're seeing. The voting body as such,
and that's a very easy binary.
It is a very easy binary, exactly, And so I think, realistically, I think a lot of people are just unhappy with both choices right now, and they're not sure which lane to pick.
I think also a lot of people, at least of Indian origins, are just unhappy with the products that we have currently running now.
Correct.
Vivek Ramaswamy and Rishi Sunak.
We don't talk about them.
They're
not really.
Like initially they were Indian, now they're like, they're a little removed. They went through the West Indies and they went through England or someplace like that. And they're really a little far removed. I mean, but in terms of policies, as concerned, it has so much bearing on working there.
On education
and working there, employment right now. So I don't know, when people and parents have this conversation with me, for the first time probably, I kind of want to hold my opinions till this particular elections are done.
Correct.
And we can, because it has been so polarizing.
It has. And you don't know what to tell them either, because you have no what the outcome is going to be like and what the consequences.
To a great extent, US was the safe territory.
It was.
Which never touched like high. It went after the blue-collared, jobs, immigrants and stuff like that. But the kind of IT sector, finance, banking, the jobs that usually immigrant Indians, high white-collared jobs, that wasn't really touched as or seen as a threat. So they were usually welcome, and so they were very happy to not have an opinion like you were talking about. But now it has become so polarized.
It has, and even with the older immigrant population that's working there, that's who become naturalized as well, they also have very strong polarized opinions, on the elections and the candidates, and so.
And also the new wave of Indians coming in.
Correct.
You see that they are like the gatekeepers to immigrants.
Oh, they are, absolutely.
They are like, if you guys are coming here right now, our parents have been here like from the 60s and the 70s.
Correct.
Kind of,
yeah.
Not the
there
same.
is that divide as well. That's like a subsection of a subsection, Yeah.
They're like, we just got here, brother. Kind of calm
fresh off the boat,
Calm down, fresh off the boat. So, where would you like to, if you were to go back, where would you like to? Would you like to go back to, you were studying in the Midwest. I think you were working a little bit in the East Coast.
Yeah, I think I would prefer the East Coast.
You would prefer the
I
East
think
Coast.
the vibes. It just comes down to the vibes. I'm
It
not a
is the
West Coast
vibes.
girl. And the Midwest is great, but I think East Coast is where my vibes are at.
New York.
New York.
Areva. What a city.
What a city, yeah. My friends living there, I'm so envious. Although, you know, I keep telling you should go out, you should go do these fun things, join an improv class, you know, as everyone in New York does.
Yes,
Join an
that's true.
improv class.
Everyone in New York
Yeah.
is joining an improv class.
I was like, why aren't you talking to the guys? She's like, the men in New York are terrible. I was like, if the men in New York are terrible, you have bad news for you.
Bhubaneswar. You should try Bhubaneswar. You send a hi and they're like, you know, I'm free on Saturday if you want to get married. At Crown Plaza. Yeah, the thing with New York, which I truly enjoy,
Yeah.
is that the profanity, in the sense that they would be just as rude to you as they would to be any other people. And I wouldn't say rude. Rude is too strong a word. They wouldn't give you that kind of space as if you were from somewhere else and you were figuring things out.
True.
You know, they will be like, man, just
It's
get
each
your
man
shit
for
together.
himself. Yeah,
Get your
yeah,
shit
yeah.
together. I mean, it almost kind of, it's a backhanded way, compliment, if
Yeah.
you will, that you feel like, okay, you're in New York now. I know it's been 5 hours, but
Yeah.
you're now a New Yorker, so figure shit out.
Yeah,
You know,
correct,
and
correct.
like, don't be such
No
a
one's pulling up
babe
your
in the
socks for
woods.
you. Correct,
Babe in the
correct. Yeah,
woods,
yeah.
like, get on with business, and you
Yeah.
kind of. I really enjoy that about.
It's very liberating, don't you
Liberating.
think? Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. It's hard, it's not easy, but I think it's, at least for someone like me who likes a
Right.
higher degree of autonomy over my life, I think New York is great. And there's also, I think, you know, in Bombay and Delhi, there's like, and big cities all across, even San Francisco, you have like the tech bros, and then you have, you know, the artsy community. But I think in New York, if there is a space for you, that is just your space. There's
That's
nobody
true.
else.
That's true.
And for such a small island,
true.
each individual person is their own space. And
Yep.
they're all enmeshed somehow, but it's not the same space. And I think that's what's amazing about New York.
Yeah, it can be painfully. I can see what you mean, and that's such a
Yeah.
great point, because sometimes that can be such an isolating experience.
It can, true.
It can be a very isolating
Yes.
experience, but a lot of us who are, at least initially or maybe even
Yeah.
later during our lives, are trying to fit in or feeling kind of threatened that we will not.
Yeah,
That's such a great thing, because you are left to be yourself
Yes.
completely.
And nobody cares. It's not a
Nobody
bad
cares.
thing. That,
Nobody cares. It's not a mean not caring.
You're not a social pariah.
Yeah. It's not a
exactly.
mean not caring. It's just
No.
nobody would care about you
True.
as much as they don't care about any other New
Exactly.
Yorker.
Right.
Per se. So you are. It's a equality in a very in that sense.
Yeah,
I see
yeah.
what you mean. You've spent a year or so in New York, or a few months.
So my internship was in Connecticut, so I used to frequently commute from New York and Jersey, and then just visited many times with my
Many
friends.
times
Yeah,
with
what a
your
lovely
friends.
place.
What a lovely place. Oh my God. Now you got me started on New York, man. This podcast can be only about New York.
You know, I was inches, like I was so close to this
You should go back,
job.
though.
I should go back. I really want to, but
Should go back.
let's see. There was a job I really wanted that I'd been applying to for months, and the recruiter reached out to me like 2 days before I was heading back to India. This was last year. And then at the end, she was like, yeah, the hiring for this department is frozen. I was like, babes, you just shattered my heart like no man has, you know.
That's
It was a fashion job in New York. I was going to be that girl. I was so excited. Yeah.
Wow. That would have been. Do you have? You should make those plans, though. I feel.
I'm working.
I feel
on it,
like you should. But the temptation is being here. Cities like Delhi, Bombay, and other places have so much character to themselves socially.
True.
Socially.
Absolutely.
But I feel like living is such a pain.
Yeah.
Like the day-to-day living, like, why am I fighting with this guy over a parking spot in Chanakyapuri, which It's just a parking spot. Why am I in the Thana now, right now?
I think about 50% of India's problems come down to the sheer population.
It's a scale like nothing else.
Nothing else. Correct.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, my cousin also said that he lives in New York, and he said that, look, when New York also faces problems, the kind of serenity, whatever little serenity there is compared to, say, India, it goes away really fast.
It does. That's
because
true.
just the pressure of so many people, like imagine those trains, Dadar fast and Virar slow and all of those that
Express,
shit. You're taking all of that and you're just done, man, with it. It's just
the day-to-day living is really hard,
living is such a grind in India.
My mom and I were having this conversation recently.
Oh, fantastic. No, I can't take the phone call. I've just forgotten to make it silent. Okay, go ahead.
So we were discussing, obviously, if I was to look for roles, I think Mumbai is a great place to move to Bombay. But she was like, the Bombay I used to know like 20 years ago is not the Bombay it is today. It is so like exponentially harder today. And she was like, the traffic is bad, the commute, if you're living somewhere and you have to go, to Dadar or like Worli for work, then it's just like...
And the rain.
And the rain,
and the rain is...
It just stops the city, shuts it down.
And it's not even too much rain.
It's
just a little bit.
Yeah.
Not all of it is sometimes rain, I mean, there can be, a tree can be sweating and that entire city can... really, we are from smaller places, like the eastern coast. We see so much rain here.
Yeah.
Before things start we see waterlogging.
Like really,
it has to... Right. In Bombay, it has to somebody has to sneeze.
It has to be like a day's worth of...
Yeah, it has to be like a sneeze for the entire city to suddenly start flooding.
Correct.
Taking a dinghy to work.
Very poor city planning.
Yeah, I mean, it's a maximum city. I don't know whether such a city can be planned in the first place.
That's true.
With so many people coming in and so many people, kind of, how do they do that? I have no idea how you solve it.
It's become so expensive as well. Like,
it's so expensive.
So wild.
I was talking about the rent. The rent is also crazy.
The rent is insane.
Crazy, insane. One of the most expensive places in terms of rent.
I would say so. I think top 20 around the globe for sure.
Yeah.
And I think it's becoming a barrier to entry as such, because someone was telling me that like someone who lives in Bombay was like, I think the rent is so high because they're trying to reduce the population coming in. I was like, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, whatever they aren't doing culturally with that Marathi, kind of wave that came against immigrants, especially the political... What is that? I didn't mean Maratha, I meant the MNS and other people who were trying to get immigrants or villainize immigrants as being the problem of the year.
Yes.
They were really successful in doing so because I was living in Thane at that point of time.
Okay.
And it was like the bedrock of all of this. So I have been to police stations where I've had to sign an FIR and they insisted that I sign something written in Marathi. Which is like, I don't know Marathi. And I've been just like, I have moved here last month. I can't download Marathi from the nearest, Airtel store or some shit like that. I can't do it, So, and it's such a weird ask for such a cosmopolitan city of that scale.
It is. I agree. Yeah, I don't know. There's like, when you're young, I would love to live there because there's just so much to do.
Mumbai?
Yeah, I would. I think if I was to live in India.
It's a great place to visit.
It's a great place to visit, yeah.
When you go there to meet friends, it's amazing. You go to these wonderful places. It has such a nice... but when I was living there, it was...
You didn't think so? No?
No, I mean... Especially something like I used to take trains to work and stuff. That's a tough...
Being jostled and everything.
You are in an intimate relationship with several people, whether you want it or not. The rains, kind of.
Yeah.
The monsoons, you got to get ready for the monsoons.
That's true.
I mean, you're hanging off people. Literally. I'm not making this up just to be,
No, you see videos and the internet as well about that. Yeah, it's a big debate, right? You have to prioritize, I think, what you want. Do you want a nice, peaceful life here? The roads are so wide here. The air is relatively breathable.
It's greener.
It's cooler. But there's, I think, a lot less to do in terms of social activity. I was talking to my mom, and I think in India, the only thing that you can do socially is go out and eat.
That's
Everything
true. That's
is just
true.
eating,
That's
you know.
true.
Whereas even in a small place like Bloomington, I used to go for a lot of plays. I loved going for plays.
Wow.
There were a lot of theaters around.
Right.
So my friends and I used to do that. You would go out for a picnic if the weather was nice. There were things to do outside of just drinking and eating. Which I think is not
That's a
so
very
the
good
case
point.
here.
That's a very good point. Our social life is...
Yeah, it's restricted to that.
My former partner used to tell me that.
Yeah.
She used to say, हम जहाँ भी जाते हैं, especially in Bombay, she used to say that हम जहाँ भी जाते हैं, बैठ के खाने लग जाते हैं.
Exactly. But
And
inevitably.
She was absolutely correct. But
Right.
it really, I mean, there was nothing else to do. It was all going, and we were, kind of doing the podcast before podcast where we eating and chatting.
Correct, yeah.
Eating and chatting, which was the life, and it showed. We were gaining weight, and after a point, there's only so much you can eat.
It becomes redundant. Like everything, what you're eating, where you're going, I think it becomes really boring, which I think is slowly and surely changing in like the tier 1 cities in India,
Which is also, I mean, circling back to New York, as all good conversations should.
Of course, yeah.
The good thing about New York, which I liked, is that especially in every borough, you could walk to places.
Yes.
Instead of drive there.
I fully agree with you.
I don't think, unless you are living in Bandra, I don't think you can do that in Bombay. Delhi, it's impossible, I would say.
Delhi is impossible.
I think if you're wanting to cross a road, nobody has crossed a road in Delhi since like the 70s or something like that. I mean, it's like impossible to do it.
Correct.
My sister lives in Uday Park, and right across Uday Park is that decathlon, that big decathlon.
Acha, wo warehouse, right.
I had to wait for the nightfall, dead night to cross that road. And by that time, decathlon had...
And how long is the crossing?
10 meters, but it just so amazingly difficult for you to walk in Delhi. I mean, people don't know. People you get arrested for walking in Delhi because people are like, what are you planning? What are you planning here? Yeah. In New York and another place, actually, I'm making a huge deal of New York, but it is a huge deal. In such a big city, being able to walk.
New York and some parts of Chicago. The rest of America isn't like that.
Oh, wow.
The rest of America is horrible. My college.
And those are the two cities that I've really seen.
Yeah,
makes
right.
sense.
But I mean, so the way the college town was, you have the main square, you have everything you can go to, which is within walkable distance. All the restaurants are 10 minutes away. The bars are right here. The playhouse, the theater is right here. So everything was walkable. But say I wanted to go to buy something that I needed, like the Indian store.
Right.
Paneer bhuji ka man ho raha tha, and I wanted even taking the bus is hard because public transportation was so hard. From where I'm living, I have to switch buses.
So you have an expectation that you will have a car.
Yes, and if you don't have a car, you're sort of handicapped in terms of movement.
I've heard this before.
Which is happening in India as well. Like you said, Bombay is relatively more walkable, but the best part about New York is that everything is walkable. Khana chahiye yahan pe hai, you're craving something.
Place like Odisha or Bhubaneswar should take care of that because it's going. The other day I was running, and this was a while back. I say the other day because I'm in denial that I've stopped running for a long time. But when I was running, I was running on the sidewalk, and on the sidewalk comes a motorcycle in full speed, and I have to jump out. I literally have to jump out because it's a turning and I have to jump out. And I land, and he brakes and looks angrily at me. So I said that, can't you see that this is a sidewalk, that you shouldn't be driving here?
Exactly.
He said that you were looking down and running.
What?
So I said that you please go, because for us to even fight, we need a common assumption.
Correct.
Your assumption of what a road should do and what a sidewalk is, I can't begin with that. I can't begin that. I can't go back in history and say there were no roads and there were roads built and there was a four-wheeler. I can't go to that extent. So you go because you won this argument. You won this round. So increasingly bigger cities, and being facetious, but increasingly cities like Bhubaneswar are not, when they are scaling up, are not looking to preserve avenues, your footpaths, especially the shade that you have. Because in a place like Bhubaneswar, if you are to walk like a metropolis like NYC, you would need a lot of shade, right?
you would,
For
that's
most part of the year, you would need a lot of shade. But you can have the most fantastic footpaths and the best footpaths. But if you don't have shade, it's really unusable for most of the day.
Yeah.
For about 10 hours of the day, it's not usable at all.
Yeah.
So that's a very good point that you make about not universities, but other towns being completely reliant
On having cars. Yeah.
Which is such a
It is.
different thing from, say, New York and definitely also Chicago. So
Yeah.
these are the two
Chicago,
cities that I'm very
the
familiar
main
with.
city as
Main
such.
city as such.
But the minute you step out again out of the downtown area, it becomes hard to. So I remember when one of my friends got a car in her last year, we were all so excited. We were like, we're going to milk this opportunity to go places. But
Finally, we have a car.
One car for all 10 of us. Yeah. But no,
that's how most of the Indians actually cross the Canadian border to get there. So that's a known route.
That makes me think about this one thing. A lot of people ask me like, oh, do you miss the US? And I was like, you know what? I don't know if I miss the US as such. I think I miss like college, like being in the college town, being in a setup where I can walk around, do my own thing, hang out with people I want to. But
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
For me too, I think I miss the university more than I miss the place.
Like, would you, if given the choice, would you live in a suburb where your grocery store is like 30 minutes away by car?
No.
Right? Yeah.
No,
because right now your grocery store is like, what, a 10-15 minute
I'm also afraid that I would wake up in the morning and would be like walking outside, unbrushed, unbathed, and some other Indian dude would spot me like 500 meters away and said, hello, Indian.
Oh my God,
I wouldn't like that. Just that is so terrifying for me to just, have that conversation.
Yeah.
I know that, there is something about familiarity in shape,
sense of community,
and all of that. But
you don't want that all the time.
this is what one of my cousins says, and he's incidentally from New York, and he makes a lot of sense, is that I like people in general, but not in particular. So I agree with him. Like, I want humanity to prosper, people not to die, but in particular, when it comes to dealing with people, it's not the most.
That's such a perfect saying, actually, because
I thought
human beings are so beautiful.
Human beings, humanity itself should be preserved. But that particular person, Mr. Rao, for instance,
not the biggest fan.
Not the biggest fan.
Yeah.
I think on that note, we should wrap up. I think we'll have about an hour's content. Thank you.
Had a lovely chat today. Thank you.
Good.
You're right. We didn't
use any. This is just props at this stage. I had written so much. I'll tell you, US economy, why are you studying here? Kind of nothing.
We didn't do any of that.
Yeah,
like,
just
I was like,
alcohol and suburbs.
I thought last night, when I was jotting down, I was like, I think I came up with some brilliant stuff. And then we just didn't.
We can also do a second apart.
Yeah, of course.